Hey guys, it's me Ram here, and this cube right here is the MoYu WeiLong WRM V9 Ball Core Edition. In my opinion, this cube is great. It has such an incredible feeling, has great performance, and is overall just a very well-rounded speed cube. However, personally, lately I've been having some problems with the cube. Number one, it's just too fast for me. Even if I do like a single flick like this on the cube, it'll sometimes overshoot and just do a U2, which is really annoying. Secondly, due to the repelling edge magnets, the cube just feels weirdly flimsy and unstable for some reason. Finally, because of its unstable nature, this cube is just so easy to corner twist. It takes me absolutely no effort to just twist a corner like that. Recently, however, PieCube Shop launched their own special edition WeiLong WRM V9 which fixes most of these issues. The PieCube Shop special edition WeiLong WRM V9 has two main differences from the regular ball core V9. Number one, instead of using MagLev, it just uses springs from the Standard WRM V9, and number two, it gets rid of the repelling edge magnets completely. With that being said, both of these are features that are available in the Standard WRM V9 without the ball core. Therefore, I thought it would be a good idea to just get my own Standard WRM V9 and swap around parts between these two to create my own edition of the special edition PieCube Shop WRM V9. Let's do this. Alright, so before we even carry on with this video, we kinda need to get the Standard WRM V9 opened up, so let's just go ahead and do that. Alright, here we go. Here's the plastic wrap off. Let's just go ahead and take this out. Obviously, no time for accessories today. We are kind of in a hurry, so let's just go ahead and get into the cube. Alright, yep, this just reminds me of the regular WRM 2021 that I tried a couple of years ago. It's not a bad cube by any means, however, cube hardware has evolved since then, and yeah, this is not all that great. Anyways, now that we've got this cube opened up, let's move on to the real fun. Step number one is just going to be replacing the edges from here into here because we don't want the repelling edge magnets. Now this should be fairly straightforward, however we can't actually just swap the pieces directly because this is actually UV coated and this is frosted plastic, and we can't have the edges frosted and the corners and centers UV coated. Therefore, we will have to take these apart and swap them around, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So basically what you just gotta do is just pull this apart in half, take your torpedo, I guess, pull this apart in half, and then attach this torpedo onto here, and then take your other UV coated piece, just go ahead and put it back together like so, and now you can go ahead and put the piece back in. Alright, that's one piece down. Let's finish it for the rest of the edges. Alright then, I just went ahead and finished replacing the edges for all of the edges in the cube, and here's my last one. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it back together, and let's just get straight into first turns. Okay, honestly, I really can't tell much of a difference. It does feel maybe a little bit more stable, but that's probably just a placebo effect. Also, obviously the cube does feel much lighter, but that's because it's missing the 12 repelling edge magnets. However, step number two is where the real magic begins. We're going to be replacing the MagLev from this cube with the springs from this cube. So let's just go ahead and take off the center caps. What you're going to start by doing is unscrewing the springed cube. So let's just go ahead and do that. There we go. I just got the screw and spring from here. And now what we just got to start by doing is unscrewing the MagLev cube. Alright, I just went ahead and unscrewed the MagLev cube. And now what we just got to do is take out the MagLev pieces, grab our screw and spring, place it inside here, and just put it straight back into the ball core cube. Now with the screw and spring cube, what you gotta do is just go ahead and tighten the cube again. Don't worry too much about tensions at this point, we will fix them later on in the video. Actually, on second thoughts, while you're at it, optional step 3 is to just lube the core. I'm just gonna go ahead and use some of SpeedCube Shop's Vortex lube because it is specifically designed for screws and springs, but you can use any silicone lube you want. What I usually do is just apply this to the screw and spring and just go ahead and spread it around. Actually, never mind, don't just do what I did. I just put far too much, but yeah, I'll just go ahead and fix that. I mean, that could have ended worse. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this back on and screw it back on. Again, like I said, don't worry too much about tensions at this point because we will go ahead and fix them later. Just put it at a tension where it doesn't pop right now. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of this off camera, but hopefully you guys know how to do this by now. Alright, I just went ahead and finished the deed for all 6 of the centers. I swapped the MagLev for the springs and I also looped the core. So now let's just go ahead and tighten this up and try it out. Alright, let's just go ahead and put the center cap back on and get into first turn. Alright, yeah, my first impressions are it's become a lot slower than it was, maybe just a little bit too slow for me. However, remember we haven't tensioned or looped this cube yet, so let's just go ahead and get right onto that. What you want to obviously start by doing is taking off all of the center caps. Due to the fact that I just switched out the MagLev with the springs, the compression will all be on different settings because it'll just be inconsistent. I haven't set it yet, so therefore I'm just going to start by setting all of them to 0. Alright, all of my compressions are now on 0, so we have a baseline to begin with. Now since I like fairly loose and fast cubes, I think the spring compression being at 0 is perfectly fine for me. However, it might not be fine for most people, so just go ahead and set it how you want. As for tensions, I want all of my sides to be approximately as loose as my red side here, which is definitely on the looser side. However, it won't be this loose for most people. Again, this is very much just a personal preference thing, so just go ahead and adjust it how you like it. Alright, I think I found settings that I'm quite happy with. I'm on compression 0 at the moment and my tensions are approximately this loose. Now this is obviously far too loose for most people out there. However, this cube still feels a little bit too slow for me, and that's why it's time for step number 5, lubing the cube. I'm just gonna go ahead and lube this cube with some good old Lunar and Stardust, so let's just go ahead and put 3 drops of each. Alright, 1, 2 and 3 drops. Let's go ahead and work this in. And now let's go ahead and add some Stardust. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, 3 drops already. Whatever, let's just add 2 more. 1, 2. And let's go ahead and work this in. Alright then, this puzzle feels at a much more usable speed for me now, and overall it just feels great, which is amazing. Hey guys, it's been around a month since I filmed that part. I've made a few more changes to my setup on the cube and I'm ready to share my final thoughts. First of all, as you guys probably saw, the tensions I had set on the cube were far too loose, and I realized that quickly because even for me, the cube felt so incredibly unstable. Therefore, I ended up tightening the cube a bit and I'm now at a much more reasonable tension. Additionally, due to the tighter tensions, the cube started feeling quite a bit slower, and therefore, I ended up adding even more Lunar and Stardust to it, and that brought it right back up to speed. Now with these modifications and everything you guys saw me do earlier in the video, what do I think of the WRM V9? Well, in my opinion, this is probably the best WRM V9 I've ever used. It's controllable, has a wonderful feeling, and overall just works really well as a cube without popping or corner twisting issues. However, there is a cube that I've started to like even better than the WRM V9 these days, and I doubt you guys are even gonna believe this, but it is the GAN 12 MagLev UV coated. Ever since I got my hands on a cosmic version of this cube, I started using it a lot more and it ended up breaking in really nicely, and I started to main it. Now even though this WRM V9 might not be my main at the moment, to me, I'd still say it is a perfect WRM V9. It's reliable, controllable, and has everything I want in a speed cube. Unlike the GAN 12, which I find to be a bit of a risky cube, the WRM V9 is extremely reliable and something I can always count on if the GAN is not suiting me on the day. It is currently my backup main speed cube, and overall, I'd say this entire modification was a success. And that is my video on how I made the perfect MoYu WeiLong WRM V9 3x3. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope your WRM V9 turns out as great as mine. Goodbye.